Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and before we get started on tonight's video, I'm gonna let you know that tonight's author, theidiotsboss, currently has a YouTube channel as Thrillist Official, if you'd like. It's going to be linked in the description down below, it's going to be on that little eye up in the top corner, and it's also going to be linked at the very end of this video. If you'd like to hear tonight's author read some more of his stories in some longer fiction, some shorter fiction, and the like, then I strongly suggest you check out his channel directly. And now, on to tonight's video. I didn't notice either. I only realized last month. 13 months ago, I was watching the New Year's Eve fireworks on TV, and I went to bed to get up to work the next day. Everything was normal. The only reason I know the world ended was, well, last month, my private health insurance was canceled. I checked my policy online to find that I had been declared deceased. There was an attached certificate, full name, date of birth, time of death being January 1st, 2025, 12:03. 3 minutes into the year. I called the provider, where the woman sounded polite and baffled. This record is from the central registry, she said. We can't override it. I explained that the record must have been incorrect because I was on the phone talking to her. There was a hesitation before she replied. This record was finalized during the January migration. Migration? What migration? I asked. There was a pause of silence, then she replied, "Everyone knows about that." And then she hung up. Once I started digging, more things didn't seem right. My bank statement listed transactions I'd never heard of. Not illegal ones, just everyday things that I probably would have been doing at that time. When I inquired about the transactions, people seemed to think that I was having a joke. "You went there," one person said. "You complained about the seating arrangements." Since January of 2025, the world seemed strange. Each week brought news of a new trade war or conflict, which then rapidly reached its conclusion to be replaced by another, or the initiation of a peace process that was ultimately abandoned. The language and participants changed, the outcomes never did, and nothing ever really progressed or collapsed. It was like time got stuck at a junction where consequences were promised, but never delivered. I mentioned to a colleague that I felt like history wasn't moving forward. "Yeah," he said with a laugh, "since the migration." I asked him what he meant. And he just blinked and claimed that he didn't even remember saying it. The first moment I felt scared was on the train. The woman sitting opposite me glanced up from her phone. "David," she said, without even raising her voice. I asked her if she knew me, and she replied almost apologetically, "Sorry, that was reconciled earlier." "Reconciled?" I asked. She shrugged. "Don't know," and went back to looking at her phone. From then on, I kept hearing the word reconciled. Doctors, customer service assistants, and once a stranger I'd asked for directions who still got me lost. The question of January the 1st, or the January migration, or why a public record claimed I was dead always provoked the same response. Over the last week, I've spent time in the archives of the old university library. This morning I found the document by accident in a public directory on their servers. Post-transition population integrity report. The first sections were full of technical jargon, but the final pages contained nothing but tables with billions of entries, and the status of each of them recorded as stable, integrated, or incomplete. When I searched for my name, notes were listed against my entry. Subject exhibits drift. Record divergence exceeds acceptable levels. Passive resolution recommended. Residual instance may be temporary if original instance is no longer available. I closed the document in a state of bewilderment, and then my phone pinged. An automated email appeared with the heading Personal Data Reconciliation Notice. It stated that I had irregularities being corrected within the next hour. I left the library immediately. The city looked normal on the surface, carrying with the traffic, lights, and people, but I realized everyone was staring without seeing. People were walking, turning perfectly without ever really looking. I started walking, and then I broke into a run. Street after street looking the same. The coffee shop that I had entered earlier reappeared as I walked. The clock on my phone displayed 3 a.m. and stopped. Suddenly, the sounds of the city died out as people slowed to a halt mid-stride. I couldn't move my fingers at first. They started, but then there was a slight lag, but then I couldn't get my left arm to respond, and when I tried to speak, only part of it came out. I could feel everything. I just couldn't make it happen. My phone vibrated again with no sender and no title. Their personal record cannot be reconciled with the environment. The original instance is no longer available. Thank you for your contribution to continuity. It wasn't only me that died on the 1st of January 2025. No one ever truly moved into January of 2025. Everyone's a copy that works just well enough that they believe that they're alive. I just wasn't copied correctly. And I'm still here in this new world left over as evidence that something failed. So if any of you feel that the last 13 months felt wrong in some subtle way, and if you've noticed something but never found out exactly why, I'd advise you to stop trying to explain it. The world you're standing in is a copy. And it's trying to remove all witnesses. Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and before we say goodnight, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching tonight's video, or for listening to tonight's episode of the podcast. As always, I want to give a very big thank you to everybody who supports me on Patreon, patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. That is the main place you guys are able to support me if you guys want to be able to support me, which you absolutely don't have to do, but hey, thank you for, doing that, if that's something that you do. And if it's not something that you do, hey, please help me. In all seriousness, I really appreciate it if you guys could be able to help me out. If you guys are able to give anything, even $1 a month. And especially if you guys like, you can become one of these wonderful people whose names I mispronounce. People such as Diana Kraus, Asset System, Benjamin 2003, Blake Rattler, Bottle Coolant, Brandon Mendoza, Caltuna, Corey X Kenshin, Dakota Best, Daniel Polson, Dante Kincaid, Enchanted Buns, Eric Anthony Caruso, Estebean, 15 Squirrels in a Trench Coat, Galaxy Gremlin, Hayes Nephew, Himbo Jerry, Our Minute Second Time, Jay Kearns, Jedis Pet, Lou Cipher, Nick MC, Plant Piss, Red Shadow Cat, Remember the Sun, Salty Surprise, Samara Lynn, Scary Stories Fuel Me 32, Seclude, Simba's Bloody Mojo, Sky Harbor, Smiley the Psychotic, Sully Man, Polly Sue, Team Leo 76, The Chavez Brothers, The Ginger Bros, Tommy Walters, Viceroy Scorn, William Wellington, X Reaper 69, XX Lucky Cat XX, Zabulb, Shadow Gardens, and Peaceful Buddha. All these really great guys, as well as all the folks you see in the description down below, or everybody that you see scrolling across the screen. Hey, I want to say thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you all so much for being here. And as always, sweet dreams.